What's going on, my growing Potter Man Nation? What checking in? Just want to drop y'all a line real quick to just address some things that are floating around. Maybe you've had a conversation about being more sufficient or sustainable, and maybe even again you yourself have ventured out into buying more land, or maybe thinking about moving to the country or moving somewhere else to get a bigger parcel. And I just want to drop this in your bucket that through my experience of literally getting a bigger piece of land and then coming back to the more densely populated area here in Metro Atlanta, and how we've built more sustainability faster by being here in a densely populated area versus out in the country with 87 acres, right? So y'all just follow me along real quick. I'm gonna run it down as fast as I can, but I'd love to hear your insight or take from what I'm gonna spill to you. So the first thing that's the most obvious is size, right? Land parcels. Most people think sustainability and land are synonymous, and in fact, they are not. And that's what we learned when we grabbed the 87 acres in Sparta, Georgia. We learned very quickly that you have to manage the 87 acres. Somebody has to work these 87 acres, and it was very hard because you're almost shackled to the land at that point. If you have a day where you are tired, you don't feel like it, everything goes downhill. If it's a day that you get hurt or injured, God forbid, you're down for a week or two. If it's on your shoulders, you're in trouble, right? So going out into the country and getting more land doesn't necessarily mean anything. It definitely means that you're going to work more, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be more sustainable just because you have access to the land, right? What we learned is that bringing things back to the urban area, the suburban area, again, we're south of Atlanta in Clayton County. We created a network here of different people with different skill sets, growers, bakers, and makers, and we just joined at the elbows, if you will, and kind of decentralize our workload so that the people who can grow the herbs and make tinctures, they do their thing. The people who can grow produce like, leafy greens or tomatoes, they do their thing. The people who can build things, our contractors, our constructionists, our electricians, things that you make, they do their thing. And together, we formed this conglomerate of sustainability, right? So that's what we learned. That was the most valuable thing as far as the land. Having that small tenth of an acre, quarter of an acre plot actually puts you in a great position because you have at least yourself to manage that area versus 87 acres. So if you took that same 87 acres and put it into a regular subdivision, you can have, 200, 300 houses. 200, 300 houses means 200, 300 adults. And I'm not saying that it's going to be everybody buys in because that's just not the case. But again, it's decentralized, thinking of the acreage as decentralized land plot. So if we're in a 50-mile radius, north, south, east, west in Atlanta, and it's literally like we have 200 people who buy into this same concept, and maybe they grow the spinach, or they raise the chickens and have the eggs. All these things are important because, again, it adds to the pot of sustainability, and that's a big deal. Okay, the second thing that is the most impactful is proximity. Proximity, again, using the land that we purchased, the trial and the error of where we went wrong with buying land and purchasing something big. It was like proximity. Again, when you're usually going out to the country, that's where all the land is. And that's typically where we're looking to purchase. And the thing with that is literally, I just put it like this. Let's say you're doing a project over the weekend. You're painting something or you're building something, and you forget something from the store. Typical, right? That's very typical for me. I'm gonna speak for myself. Very typical. Maybe I miscut something. I need to go grab another piece of lumber, or I got the wrong piece, or I got the wrong nozzle, or what have you. Being out in the middle of the country, or just in a rural area where your typical in-town visit is an hour plus away, that can get very, very, very draining, right? Imagine going an hour just to get to your nearest grocery store and get all the way back home and you left the bag. It's way different. Imagine if you just need to go for a box of screws because you ran out while you're in the middle of the project, and you gotta basically schedule an hour and a half drive out to just grab screws. Is gonna be very difficult. So again, proximity was a big thing that we learned, that the value of it. And again, we're trying to move back from the big box stores. We don't want to be dependent on them. But again, proximity to even your resources as far as members, people who are also into the same value of life, way of life. That is important because maybe you can bypass the stores because somebody else has some, and this is an intentional way that we can again pull back from the big box capitalistic communities or services and start to invest in our own communities and our own services and our own infrastructure. And the third thing that I feel that was the most valuable with understanding that you can be in an urban area or suburban area and be sustainable faster is you don't have to uproot your life. You don't have to move away. You don't have to make new friends. You don't have to learn the new landscape. Your children don't have to go to a new school and be traumatized by moving out to. It's very good because you can stay where you are. The adage is do what you can with what you have where you are. And you can do a lot because, again, when you're looking at it from this position of decentralization, you're not meant to do everything, right? You're just doing your part. And if you're the one who makes the deodorant, that's what you do. You could be in an apartment and still add value to a food system and become more sustainable because you're doing something to aid other people, and maybe they have the space, so they're raising the chickens or growing the food, or raising the sheep. Even I have sheep right here in Metro Atlanta, so it's like we have valuable assets around us, valuable resources around us, and to leave them to go somewhere else and get that together all over again is a daunting task. And again, I think that's something that people do not kind of add into the equation. And so again, I believe that we can become sustainable faster in densely populated areas because of those reasons. Let me know what you think, man. Holla at a player in the comments. I'm looking forward to rapping with you.